A man who stood up as a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the whole mankind. Today, if any person follows any religion, it is because of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. If you are respectful to your own religion, it is because a man sacrificed everything he had to make you think, be proud of whatever you are. Do not surrender before evil and oppressors. We, according to our belief, the followers of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, believe that we are supporters of an oppressed person, no matter who he is. He may be a disbeliever, and we are against the oppressor even if he is a Muslim. We are against the zalim, the oppressor. That is the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We are for the oppressed, the mazloom. If you look at Yazid on the other hand, in 3 years of his government, 3 great atrocities he committed. One, Karbala, and that was enough for him to take him to the hellfire. There are certain sins according to the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet that are enough for you not to come back to Allah. You will not be having the blessing of repentance and tawbah. If you do certain sins, then your hearts are blocked. You will never be able to come back to the Almighty. The Quran mentions many of these verses. I'll only mention one from Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2. The verse says about the Bani Israel, the Israelis, that وَضُرِبَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الذِّلَّةُ وَالْمَسْكَنَةُ وَالضَّاءُ بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Allah hit them with disgrace and humility, and not living in the houses, threw them out of their country. Why? Because they had bought the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Through doing what? بِأَنَّهُمْ يَكْفُرُونَ بِآيَاتِنَا كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِنَا. They were denying the signs of Allah. وَبِقَتْلِهِمُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ. And because they were killing the prophets innocently. That is one of the reasons. Anyone who kills innocent people, prophets or imams, that just as the prophethood, imamat is also divinely chosen. It's a divinely belief. It is not something that we have the right to decide for ourselves. It is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyone who kills the divinely people, their tawbah, their repentance will never be accepted. Yazid did 3 great sins. One of them was the incident of Karbala. Secondly, he attacked Medina after Karbala, which is called Waqia Harra. Go and look at all the history books. Al-Bidayat wa Nihaya by Ibn Kathir, the famous, greatest Sunni historian, has also mentioned it, that he attacked Medina and he said everything is permissible for my army for next 3 days or a week. And as a result, I'm ashamed of saying this, but as a result of that, 6,000 illegitimate children were born. That was the second atrocity and oppression that Yazid had carried out. Then the third year he attacked Mecca, and the Moulana had actually talked about it, the Imam. So I'll not be touching that. You see, what happens is, you do not become what you become from day one. You slowly progress towards becoming a great sinner. Day one you only disrespect your brother, older brother, then your father, then the Imam, then the Prophet, then the Almighty himself. Do you think Pharaoh was born Pharaoh? He did not believe in the Almighty, the God. It slowly made him think that he was the God. He objected to the Almighty. So slowly you progress. But the most important point to remember, as Moulana has also, the Imam had also mentioned, that people in the time of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, their hearts were with Imam Hussain, but their souls against Imam Hussain. There were many people who respected, but were fearful of the powers in their time. That is to remember. Most people give up their religion and their faith because of other powers. It should not happen. Or is it happening even today? Is it difficult to speak against oppression? It will be, I promise you. There will be times when we'll find it difficult to speak against oppression. I'm not implying Karbala, but generally. There are many times within our own lives when you do not stand up for justice. You let it happen, the injustice and oppression. On a lower basis, it becomes big. You let it happen in the house, it comes out in the society. You let it happen in the society, it takes up the national level and then internationally. Imam Hussein was not the outcome of a few people not following Islam, but an outcome of a general consensus of the Muslims who had now gone to sleep and had forgotten the traditions of the Holy Prophet. In 11 Hijrah, the Holy Prophet died. In 61 Hijrah, people are killing Imam Hussein. There are people who were, when the Holy Prophet was performing ablution, wudu, as the water was dropping on the floor, they would take utensils and put it below the arms and the face of the Holy Prophet and take that water as sacred and as tabarruk. It is a blessing because this water has touched the body of the Holy Prophet. The people who were taking that water as blessed and sacred, what had happened in 50 years? Those same people, same Muslims were willing to kill and shed the blood of the Holy Prophet. Wasn't Hussein the blood of the Holy Prophet? Ask yourselves, what had happened in those 50 years? Why did it come to a place where people were willing to kill Imam Hussein alayhi salam? I've lost track of my time, so I'll be finishing within the next 45 minutes. I meant, and that was a slip of a tongue, 4 to 5 minutes. I'll try my best. You see, if you compare the two armies, now enough about Yazid. We've had enough of him, haven't we? Let's talk about Karbala itself. Now remember, Karbala itself is a place where we find historically other prophets have also come. We have found in the history of mankind, there are people who have said, we will fight till the end of our life, till the last drop of blood in our body. But has it ever happened? Never, I promise you. Go and check the history. There are armies who claim that, and they had a large army, the general still standing, with blood, not only blood, probably other things in his body. Not mentioning what. Strong, but gave up. Why? Because they did not have the courage which was given to them through the belief in the Tawheed and the unity of Allah. Only once in the history of mankind, a man stood up and said, I'll fight till the last drop of blood in my body. And he made sure that he did fight till the last drop of blood in his body. And that was Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Only one person. Go and check and you'll find out. Today I'm mentioning some of the incidents that took place in Karbala. As Moulana also mentioned, that there is a difference of opinion in how many people were present in the army of Yazid. Tabari says 30,000. There are Sunni historical books that say 40,000, and some have said 70,000. In fact, I've come across some of the Shia books that say more than 200,000. If you remember the battles fought by Yazid's father, he had brought more than 80,000 people. Yazid had a bigger army, a bigger following, because there was no Ali to face and oppose those Muslims who were fighting in the name of Islam and doing oppression. So this army had been growing bigger. So there must have been at least over 100,000 logically. But I do not have historical facts right in front of me to claim how many people were present from the army of Yazid. However, there are figures, something like 200,000 and probably even more. Nevertheless, let's take the smallest number, 30,000, which Tabari has mentioned. That is the lowest number. I personally do not have a research, but do not claim that this was a correct figure. On the other hand, just like Moulana said, 250 people probably, 72 people, 128. These are the two figures that we find in the Shia books, 72 or 128. Probably not present at the time of the night of Ashura, but later on that joined in. Now, just ending the last, and I promise you, this is the last 10 minutes. Probably even less than 10 minutes. But brothers and sisters, my respected honorable guests, look at the incident of Karbala. We see the extreme of oppression in the plains of Karbala. We see how far the oppression can go. But we haven't seen the extremes